So hello, I'm David Backholer. I'm a real estate broker based right here in beautiful Portland, Oregon. And if you're thinking about relocating to the Portland metro area and buying a home here, this video is for you. Now today I'm walking you through the real pros and cons of living in the Portland metro area, from the lifestyle perks and the natural beauty to some of the challenges you'll want to factor in before you're making the move here. I'm going to cover it all today. Now I work with a lot of out-of-state buyers and I know what kind of questions people are asking, but also the same questions that I asked when I relocated here from out of state too. So we'll address all of those and a lot more in this video. But firstly, let's dive right in and talk about our very first pro. So let's start with what brings a lot of people here. It's the incredible natural beauty and access to the outdoors. Now Portland is sandwiched between the Pacific Ocean and then Mount Hood, with endless forests, rivers and hiking trails in every direction. Within 90 minutes you can be skiing in the mountains, wine tasting in the Willamette Valley, or of course exploring the beautiful Oregon coast. And if you love being outside, whether that's paddleboarding on the Willamette River, hiking the Columbia Gorge, or just strolling through a leafy neighborhood park, Portland is going to be very hard to beat. So now let's move on and talk about our second pro, and that's the overall laid-back lifestyle and culture. Portland has this laid-back, friendly, slightly quirky culture that a lot of people find refreshing. It's casual, creative, and a little bit unconventional too. You'll find amazing local coffee shops, indie bookstores, artisan everything, and a strong support for local businesses. Now it's not a big city with that hustle and grind energy. It's more relaxed and intentional here. And if you're a foodie, you're definitely going to love it here. The food scene is legendary. We've got some incredible farm-to-table restaurants, breweries, bakeries, and of course plenty of vegan options too. Now the video you see on the screen now is from Alberta Street, located in northeast Portland. Here you'll find approximately 20 blocks of bars, restaurants, cafes, boutique stores, and independent art galleries, and of course plenty of street murals. Now what you won't find on the street is any of those larger national chain stores, and that's a fairly common vibe that you'll find throughout. And of course we do have the typical big box stores, including several Costco's and the Target, but Portlanders are a big fan of supporting local businesses and building the community. Now one of the things I personally love and that my clients really appreciate too is just how livable the neighborhoods are here. Now most of Portland feels like a collection of small towns inside a city. You've got tree-lined streets, charming homes, local coffee shops on the corner, and of course a strong sense of community. And if you venture just outside the city, surrounding areas like Lake Oswego, West Lynn, Beaverton and Happy Valley offer excellent schools, more space, and still keep you within easy reach of the city centre. Okay, so on the topic of the beautiful neighborhoods, I thought it might make sense to spend a couple of minutes for me to explain the layout of Portland and then the various different quadrants we have and what you can expect from different areas of the city. So Portland overall is divided into two parts. You'll see the Willamette River right here goes right through the middle of Portland. Everything to the east of that is going to be either northeast Portland, southeast Portland, or north Portland, and these are more residential neighborhoods. And then west of the Willamette River, you have areas like this northwest and southwest Portland and the inner area. You're going to find a lot of high rises right here, and this is the downtown Portland right here as well. You'll see where it says West Burnside, that separates the north and the south part of Portland. So starting overall with northwest Portland, like I say, you've got a lot of high rises. This is the Pearl District. It's a very trendy area, a lot of condos, almost all condos, maybe a few townhomes, but no single family homes there. And as you start to work your way west, you'll see Northwest 23rd. There is a plethora of fantastic places to eat along here, probably the busiest street in all of the city in terms of food places. But then you can start to see, as we go further west, Kings Heights, the roads get quite wiggly. You're going to go up some hills, it's quite steep in that area. And then you can see you're hitting Forest Park. So the northwest side really is the Pearl District, so kind of trendy condos, great places to eat, lots of parks, and then there's an area up here as well. This starts to be a lot more single family homes. Now, southwest Portland has a fairly similar vibe to northwest Portland. You'll see again This is downtown Portland here. You've got Portland State University there as well. And then again, as you get further away from those high-rise areas, the roads are kind of wiggly. Again, you're going to have lots of houses that are kind of on hills. And then overall, again, Southwest Portland, Northwest Portland have a similar vibe. Houses of a similar era, quite green, quite spread out. You might get some more single-story homes, certainly out in these areas as well. Places like Multnomah Village, I've featured on my channel before, a beautiful, charming little area with some fantastic homes. So those are our first two quadrants, Northwest and Southwest Portland. South Portland is Portland's newest quadrant, and I am referring to as quadrants as that's what their names used to be. Used to be 4 quadrants. We actually now have 6 because South and North were added at a later date. South waterfront though, here you're going to find loads of nice, attractive, high-rise buildings. You can see the river's right here, and if we spin around, you've got these more modern type of condo buildings, but they have fantastic views. In fact, if we go a little further, we might be able to see Mount Hood over here. Not quite, but it's over in this direction. So these condos here, if you're looking for a condo, low maintenance living, South Waterfront in the South Portland area really is going to be a top pick. But you can start to see the homes we have are very, very different. And then Southeast and Northeast Portland are similar to each other, but very different to what we've seen. Ladd's Addition, for example, in Southeast Portland has a very unique layout. All these homes in this area are going to be built in and around the 1920s and earlier. They're going to be a mix. This one here is probably around 2,000 square feet, but you'll equally find much larger homes that are 3,000, 4,000 square feet in these neighborhoods as well. So, places like Ladd's Addition, Laurelhurst is a charming road. In fact, Oak Street right here has some of the most beautiful homes in all of Portland. Let's just take a look around. You can see, look how spectacular some of these homes. So around Laurelhurst, you're going to have a real mix of stunning homes. Again, 2,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet, somewhere in between. Most homes will be in that area. And again, almost all of this inner northeast and southeast Portland is going to be those older homes, charming homes. Irvington, I've talked about before, a top pick for me personally. It's my neighborhood where I live. Again, you're going to have some beautiful, stunning homes in Irvington. So overall, the vibe is very, very different to the west side, to the east side, so it really depends on what you're looking for. But keep that in mind, there's so much variation in the types of homes. And then finally, North Portland, beautiful area. A mix of new and old, so you'll still find some of those older homes from the 1920s-ish, but also some newer condos and townhomes. This area is probably the more affordable area in the entire city. Homes are a little bit smaller overall, especially around St. John's, where some of those homes were built for the dock workers, because you can see surrounded by the Willamette River. Overlook neighborhood, beautiful area. You've got some fantastic older homes around here too, with some fantastic views. So really, the key point I want to make on this Pro is that there's such a wide variety of homes. If you're looking for new with views, you can find that. If you're looking for old historic with tree-line streets, you're going to find that too. You've got river views, you've got floating homes. I haven't even touched on floating homes. Right around Hayden Island, you're going to find plenty of floating homes up here as well. So a real contrast throughout the city. No matter what type of home you're looking for, you're probably going to find it in this area.
Okay, so the weather here is often misunderstood. Yes, it does rain. It's more of a light drizzle than a downpour, and then because of that, everything stays beautiful and green. If you look on the impact of the area as well, so many beautiful flowers, greenery, trees in all areas, immaculate landscaping as well. We don't tend to get those harsh winters with piles of snow. We tend to get 2 or 3 days a year where it actually snows, and we don't get that brutal heat either, so summers is very pleasant. So overall, the climate here is pretty mild. A 4-season climate overall, and if you're coming from places like Arizona or Southern California, it can definitely feel like a breath of fresh air. Okay, so moving on to our fifth pro, and I find a lot of my previous clients are drawn to Portland for its values, its progressively environmental conscious, eco-friendly focus, its community orientated as well, and there's a really big focus on sustainability, inclusion, and then supporting local businesses. So if those are some of the things that's important to you, you're probably going to find this is a good vibe for you overall. Okay, so those are the top pros and reasons why you should consider moving here. But of course, there's two sides to every coin. However, before I talk about the cons, I do want to remind you that I am a real estate broker based here in the Portland metro area. If I can help you with your move here, then please do reach out. You can give me a call, send me a text, send me an email, or alternatively, there's a QR code on the screen. If you scan that, you'll be able to schedule a Zoom call with me, a one-on-one Zoom call, and then we can talk about your specific requirements in a lot more detail. Okay, so now let's talk about the other side of the coin. And to be blunt, Portland certainly isn't for everyone. There's definitely some things to consider before you make the move here. And let's start things off and talk about housing. Now, while Portland is still more affordable than places like Seattle, San Francisco, or LA, home prices have gone up a lot over the past decade. The average home price in the Portland metro area sits well above the national average, especially in the more desirable neighborhoods with great amenities and fantastic schools. So if you're relocating from a lower cost market, it can be a bit of a sticker shock. That said, you do get a lot more space and character here compared to similar price homes in bigger West Coast cities. Prices are significantly more affordable here compared to many cities in California, so really it's going to be relatively comparable to what you're used to. Now, the median price for a single family home in Portland is still in the mid to upper 500,000 range. Homes in the most popular neighborhoods can start at 700,000, but you can easily spend over $1 million for homes over 3,000 square feet in some of the more popular neighborhoods. Okay, so our second con is the weather, although it is absolutely beautiful today. Now, some people love the Pacific Northwest climate, but for others, especially if you're coming from a sunnier place, it can be a little bit of an adjustment. From November to April, it can feel a little grey and damp. Not that cold, just if you need daily sunshine to feel your best, it's something to think about. Now personally, I do love the weather here, although we do get quite a bit of rain. The summers are absolutely beautiful, and overall I personally don't find it too much of a problem. It's also not too uncommon for people in the Pacific Northwest to take those sunny vacations during those winter months, and of course there are plenty of direct flights to the Hawaiian Islands from PDX Airport. Okay, so moving on to our next con, and that's that Portland has faced some very real challenges in recent years when it comes to homelessness, public safety, and city policies. Some areas have struggled more than others with tents and trash, and it is a real issue that the city is actively working on. Now, many other suburban cities in the near area, like Lake Oswego, West Lynn, Wilsonville, and Happy Valley, they don't tend to have these same issues, certainly not to the same degree. So it's something I always like to talk through with my clients so they can make an informed decision based on what feels right for them. Okay, so moving on to our fourth con, and Portland has a strong job market, especially in certain sectors, especially tech, healthcare, education, and some of those creative industries, but it's not as diverse or fast-paced as some of the larger metro areas. So if you're bringing your job with you or working remotely, you'll likely be fine, but if you're job hunting, it's important you do your research, especially if you're in a kind of a niche market. Now, outside of Portland, in places like Salem, which is about an hour south of here, you might find a little bit more variety. And although there is some uncertainty for government workers in today's job market, Salem is the capital of Oregon, so there are still plenty of government jobs there, including the Oregon State Capitol and the DMV, to name just a couple. Now, in the healthcare industry, you have big employers there like the Salem Health and Kaiser Permanente, and of course there's a Kaiser office here in Portland as well. And then of course, located in the Willamette Valley, there's a large agricultural and wine industry. So overall, there's plenty of opportunities, but it is going to depend on what location you pick. Now, of course, in Portland itself, tech industry is booming. We have Silicon Forest out on the west side. So if you're in one of those industries, you'll likely find it a lot easier to find employment. Okay, so our next con focuses on the infrastructure, and the Portland metro area has been growing steadily for years, and whilst that's exciting, has also created some challenges. Traffic congestion is definitely becoming more noticeable, especially during peak commute times. Now, that said though, I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and traffic there was far worse than what it is here in Portland. You just have to keep in mind that the bulk of the traffic is around the rivers. The Willamette River that you can just see behind me splits Portland into two, so things can get a little bit congested when traveling across the bridges. Now, I'm at the Overlook Park here on the north part of Portland. You can see that's the Fremont Bridge in northeast Portland. So anywhere where there's bridges, it tends to delay the traffic. And then another negative when it comes to the growing infrastructure is that there's hardly any new homes in the actual city limits. Most new construction is happening in the outskirts, including places like Tualatin, Bethany, Beaverton and Sherwood, and they're mostly west of downtown Portland and south as well. So there you have it, the real pros and cons of living in the Portland metro area. Every city has its trade-offs, and Portland is no exception. But if you're looking for a place with natural beauty, a strong sense of community, and a creative, down-to-earth vibe, this might be the perfect place for you. And if you are seriously thinking about making the move, I'd certainly love to help you navigate the transition. I work with a lot of relocation buyers, so if you're looking to find the best neighborhoods, the right lifestyle for you, you want to chat about Portland, then don't hesitate to reach out. Feel free to give me a call, send me a text, or scan that QR code where you can schedule a one-on-one Zoom call with me. But for now, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.